Some of the people standing there disapproved of what the Nazis did, but their disapproval was only silence, and silence is what did the harm.
The power of testimony can't be underestimated as a learning tool. Education has always relied on storytelling to make impact, and these are human stories, personal stories.
Hearing from survivors means a lot because these are the actual people who have gone through it. When kids are like sat down and shown a video or like real proof that it happened, it gets the message through.
There's a thing that happens when a student watches testimony. It's almost like your DNA and the DNA of the story. They mix, so you walk away from that experience and it changes you.
To see that people have gone through this hardcore discrimination and lived to tell the story, that gives me courage.
They can talk to someone who is from a completely different world than they are and hear very similar stories to what they or their families are experiencing, their communities are experiencing.
These stories can play an important role in that, in inspiring students to overcome these obstacles that are placed in front of them, to know that despite all past struggles, that there is hope for the future.
Kids and myself have been raised on video. And so when you can see somebody in video talking about their life experiences, I think naturally we make that connection.
No other tool than Eyewitness brings the testimony, the personal human story, and the power of storytelling in a digital space into a classroom anywhere in the world. The testimonies, even though they're about history, are about themes, universal experience, human experience that we still see today.
When we use Eyewitness, we just attach a face to the story, because then when we actually get to see the person and hear when their voice cracks or like the emotion, the sadness that just comes to their eyes when they're remembering like all these horrific events, and it just makes everything so much more real and so much more personal.
Y entonces, lastimosamente, pues la guerra vino a destruir todo.
我的一个小妹妹1岁的，仍然坐在桌子底下。bashakaga urebye leta yari iriho yashakaga ko abantu ba.
When you learn more about different cultures and what's happened to them, you become more understanding and more of an open person.
Something happens when you watch testimony, when you watch these stories. You start to listen in a way that perhaps you don't just listen to when your teacher is up at the top of the classroom. You're able to kind of draw into their story, and that helps students, I think, feel a bit more at ease. And then they're able to start speaking up about their own experiences because they actually just heard somebody else share something very personal to them.
That's what it means to be a critical thinker, to not be fed the information, but to be given information and then to be able to look at it and decipher what is true, what is honest, what is evidence, what is an extension, what is propaganda. The young kids are going to become our leaders, and we want them to be critical thinkers based on evidence, based on research, based on their humanity.
Tell them, tell your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren that you met someone, you spoke with someone who was there, who was an eyewitness.
You cannot forget, because the stories that you learn here become your story.